Can you get a 100% scholarship from the University of Toronto? Let's talk about that.
Okay, so this is the most important question. Why do you think you got this scholarship?
All right, so let's talk about the University of Toronto. Founded in 1827 in the heart of Ontario, it is one of the best universities in Canada and among the top 20 in the world. Now, when I was applying for my study abroad journey, it was definitely one top university that I had to consider. So let's take a deep dive and look at everything that this university has to offer. It has over 1,000 programs of study that you can choose from, so finding a right degree for you isn't going to be a hard task. And needless to say, some of the top programs that the University of Toronto provides is biomedical sciences and computer science. So in this video, I'm going to share some tips and some strategies that you can use to get a 100% scholarship at the University of Toronto. And spoiler alert, there are multiple options available for international students. So this video is entirely dedicated to you guys. Now, I also have a separate college playlist where I talk about 100% scholarship in other universities. So feel free to check that out as well. So let's start off with some numbers and stats. If you are a prospective undergraduate student looking to start a program, you're looking at a commitment of about $50,000 to $60,000 per year as tuition fee. Now, on the other hand, if you are a master's student, this would be around $20,000 per year for you. This does not include your living expenses, your books, or other miscellaneous expenses that you may have. This is purely tuition. So needless to say, a scholarship that covers all of these expenses would be useful to literally any student, which makes the scholarship that I'm going to talk about in just a minute some of the most competitive ones out there. The first one on our list is the most popular Lester B. Pearson Scholarship for International Students. Now, this scholarship by the title itself says a lot. So all of you international students are eligible to apply, but it's one of the most competitive scholarships that I have ever seen. It's just so difficult to get in, and for good reasons altogether. This scholarship, if you get it, covers your tuition, books, incidental fees, and even residence for 4 years of your undergraduate studies. So basically, you get to do your degree for free, which is thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars in saving right there for you. So each year, about 37 international students get this scholarship, which according to my calculations, if I'm not wrong, is 0.185% of international students that apply each year.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Now, to be eligible for this scholarship, the University of Toronto has listed out some very direct requirements, the top 3 of which include: 1, you have to be an international student; 2, you must be in your final year of graduating high school; and 3, you must be an incoming student looking to attend the University of Toronto in the upcoming session. So let's talk about the application process, because it's a 3-step process which is fairly straightforward. And it includes getting nominated by your high school, which is step number 1. Now, if your school isn't familiar with this whole nomination process, the University of Toronto also lists down how you can do that. The only tricky part to this is that each high school can only nominate 1 student to get this scholarship. So just your school recommending you for the scholarship shows how much faith they have in you as a student. Number 2 would be filling out the UofT's application, which is pretty much your standard undergrad application form. And once the University of Toronto receives that nomination, then you can fill out the Pearson scholarship application form. You guys know that I've been a huge advocate for college application essays, and I've given you so many tips about them. So the University of Toronto's Pearson scholarship application form is all about these essays. Now, these essays can change from year to year, but just taking last year as a reference, some of the questions that were asked included describing your academic objectives and indicating how they would range in your long term goals, writing a letter of reference for yourself in a third person, describing how the applicant, which is basically you, meets the criteria. The third one included describing a personal life experience that had a particularly significant effect for you and highlighting the reason for its significance. And additional questions such as if you were not awarded the Lester B scholarship, what were your plans for the next 4 years, and your family income. Now, answering these questions can get a little tricky, and finding enough time to brainstorm as well as someone to review your essay can come in really handy. I do offer these services as part of my mentorship program, where I brainstorm some topics and content writing strategies with you, as well as make some final draft edits to your essay. So if you want to get in touch with me for that, feel free to fill out the mentorship form in the description below. But I'm going on and on about these essays, and I think we need to hear some words from someone who's actually gotten this scholarship. So let's talk to Anuj, who is a recipient of the Pearson scholarship this fall.
Anuj, thank you so much for joining in today. And we are really excited to have you because the Crazy Medusa family really wants to know who you are. So I'm going to let you give a little introduction about yourself. Tell us who you are and tell us a little bit more about the scholarship, where you're from, what you're studying, all that good stuff.
Of course, thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me here today. My name is AJ, or Anuj Manchanda. I was born and raised in Bangkok, Thailand, so I've lived there my entire life. And I've been so fortunate to be able to be exposed to such a diverse array of cultures and opinions and perspectives that have really motivated me to pursue a lot of projects that I'm really passionate about. So right now I'm studying at the University of Toronto, and I'm extremely fortunate to have the Lester B. Pearson Scholarship, which is a fully funded merit-based scholarship here at the uni.
What were some of the degree options that you were considering to major in? And did you have other options in terms of like universities, or was UofT your top pick? And in Canada in general,
Yeah, so in terms of the different majors that I was going for, I was pretty business oriented. That's something I've always loved, and I'm super passionate about entrepreneurship and utilizing business to evoke change in the world. And so that's why I was pretty set on a Bachelor of Commerce or BA or anything related to finance, marketing, and the holistic nature of business.
So when I was doing my research a little bit, going through like the requirements of the scholarship, I read that your school needs to nominate you and only one student in your school can be nominated. So was that sort of like a competition for you, or, were you kind of like the first one to let your school know of this whole process?
Yeah, so in terms of the school nomination process, it varies a lot depending on the school, of course. So for me, my counselor actually told me about the scholarship, and they let me know that they wanted to nominate me. So that's how I kind of figured out about it. And so I constantly followed up and went through that process after my counselor told me about it. But I do know, after talking to other scholars, that there's a variety of different procedures in different schools. For example, some schools may require additional essays where you have to write essays, and then the counselor will pick based off of that. So my advice would be go talk to your counselors, go talk to your principals, get to know what the process is. And if your school hasn't nominated anyone else yet, go ahead and bring it up to them. Tell them that you're super interested and you're super motivated to get the scholarship. And I'm sure they'll be more than happy to guide you on that journey.
Why do you think you got this scholarship?
So while I do not know for certain why I was so lucky and fortunate to receive the scholarship, so for me personally, I was very involved in high school, and I genuinely enjoyed joining a variety of initiatives and clubs and groups that I really resonated with. And so that involved a variety of things. For one, I was super interested in environmentalism. And so I participated in a variety of afforestation efforts, as well as, building artificial reefs in islands around Thailand. And I also really enjoyed music. And so I loved music. I had a band and we sang in a variety of performances. And so I leveraged that passion to work towards developing and organizing concerts for the conservation of the slow lures. So kind of combining two different passions. In addition to that, I was super involved in the student council, technology council, service council, where I organized a variety of initiatives and events and assemblies throughout the year. I also had a student news show where I hosted, daily updates and news events to show to everyone in secondary school. In addition to that, in the Technology and Service Council, we worked on a variety of initiatives to really give back to society and communities and leverage technological literacy within our school environment and beyond. Now, in terms of academics, I don't necessarily think this section of my application made me stand out, but I did nevertheless work very hard consistently throughout high school. I was not the smartest person. I was not even close. I obviously struggled with school, but I always worked my hardest to try and improve. And so in terms of statistics, I did the International Baccalaureate Diploma program, and I scored a 45 out of 45 in that program at the end. And in my application, I highlighted how I like the interconnectedness of different activities and merging my passions as a means to work for causes and initiatives that I genuinely resonate with and care about. I think it's important to be authentic and to show your true self, and to emphasize that you want to make a difference, you want to make an impact in the world, and that you're motivated every day to do so.
Excellent. I think I couldn't have said it better. And I've gone through this entire process myself, so I understand that. But in the last 1 year, we encountered something very unexpected, which was the pandemic. What advice would you give to those students who have kind of come out of this saying that the past year they didn't get a chance to kind of go out and do as much as they'd hope? What would be your advice to them?
Firstly, yeah, I can imagine it's been such a rough year for everyone. And so I really empathize with everyone who's had to go through that, especially students in the college application process. I know how difficult that can be. With that being said, I think there are a lot of ways to leverage what you can do at home. So for me personally, I also, had quite the rough year, and I ended up actually taking a gap year. And so what I did then was I put in the effort to try to figure out, what can I do? What can I do given the circumstances? How can I take advantage of this? And I think that's a good question to constantly be asking yourself, no matter what stage you are in life. And so that led me to, start investing and start pursuing like 26 different online courses and virtual internship programs. There's so many opportunities online that you can really leverage to learn and to grow and to do what you want, because it's up to you. You can essentially do whatever you want. And so I think understanding that you can take advantage of so many online resources at home is really important. But beyond that, the university admission officers, they understand that it's been a pandemic and we've all been through so much. So express that. Feel free to express what you've gone through and how that's shaped you and how that has motivated you in different ways. And I think that critical reflection will really be genuine and show a lot about who you are, which is equally as important.
Absolutely. And I guess correct me if I'm wrong, it's not always essential that you show to the admissions office that you are a perfect person. That's not what they're trying to get at. Am I right?
Exactly. Yeah. So one of my essays was literally talking about my ignorance and how I was really thinking the wrong way, and how my experiences shaped me to change, and it allowed me to realize how wrong I was in the past. And so I think it's important to really criticize yourself, even if you need to, and talk about your weaknesses and how that can lend its way into strengths. So yeah.
Absolutely. Perfect. That sounds great. I think, everyone's going to get a lot out of this. But that's pretty much about it. That's all the questions that I had. Was there anything that you wanted to share to this audience? Primarily, my audience is global based. I would say they are in some point, whether it's undergrad or grad, trying to apply to colleges in Canada and US mostly. So they're trying to, just get any sort of direction. So if there's anything you want to, share a message with them, feel free to.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say trust the process. I know it's a stressful time. And definitely there's so many factors that come into mind, from financials and actually getting in and academics. And there's just so much going on. I can relate. It was a very stressful time, but trust the process. Know that everything will work out in the end, and that everything will just work out perfectly. So do it your all, give your best, try your hardest, but leave the rest for it to come as it does.
Excellent. Perfect. That sounds good. And I think that was really inspiring and motivating as well.
Now, if you're stuck in a place where you need some free resources or just something to help get you started and just guide you through the entire process, I'd like to introduce you guys to an online learning platform called Skillshare, which is an online community, and one of the best courses that they offer that could be really useful for you is the Essay Writing Masterclass by Kenji Tomita, and some other essay courses like 5-hour essay classes and the writing process, or how to even write an essay in 30 minutes. So depending on how much time you have, these classes can really be helpful for you. Using the link in the description below, the first 1,000 people to sign up will get 1 month of Skillshare Premium for free. So definitely take advantage of this offer while it lasts. So coming back to our University of Toronto, the Lester B. Pearson Scholarship has one main drawback. It is only available to undergraduate students. So what about all of those master's and PhD students? I got you. The next two scholarships that I'm going to talk about is eligible for you guys as well. Alright guys, so that is everything that I had for you guys in this video. Please, for God's sake, do not fill the comment section with your profiles asking me if, this is a good profile to get admission into the University of Toronto. There's no possible way I could know. I am not on the admissions committee. However, if you want to make this more useful, please redirect your questions and in a better way ask what you could do to improve your profile and to actually enhance it. The whole idea is to better your skill set for the degree that you're applying to, not just focus on whether one college will accept you or not. And my final piece of advice would be scholarships and financial aid play a huge role in determining whether you'll definitely go into a university or not. But that's secondary, guys. The first thing that you need to focus on is actually getting accepted by this college. If you focus on step number 2 all this time, you're not even going to pay attention to the amount of effort that it takes to clear step number 1. Step number 1 is to actually get accepted by these universities, UofT and other such dream colleges that you have. And getting accepted starts all the way from building your profile and making sure that you have a wholesome application. So leave that as a secondary thing to worry about. Focus on the first part first if you're just starting out on this process. But feel free to leave your comments below, ask any questions that you may have, or even drop down different types of scholarships if you know there are more than what I spoke about in this video. Like this video, share it with a friend if they might find it useful, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.